Hi, Lainey Johnson here. Today I want to talk about home purchasing. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or you're just changing up your space after 79 days of shelter in place and maybe you got bored in the house. But I read an interesting statistic that I wanted to share. According to the National Association of Realtors, home sales jumped a record 20.7% in June, over a third of which came from first-time home buyers. So, pretty interesting, made me think this would be a relevant topic to cover. So first and foremost, I do have show notes because I'm bougie. This is actually an article I wrote on home buying that was published and decided, hey, why not recycle content, right? So determine your down payment and housing costs. So traditionally, lenders want 20% down, and that will help you avoid PMI, but sometimes you do a first and a second if you can't quite come up with that 20% down. And then also FHA loans are sometimes a good avenue for you to explore, but they might have higher interest rates. So first and foremost, kind of play with the numbers and figure out what you can afford. The thing I will caution you with is be realistic with the numbers. So think about not necessarily going the most expensive and not necessarily going the cheapest. Okay, so the second tip, this is one that I really like, get a pre-approval letter. So you would be astounded how many people go to open houses, well, rewind, back when we used to be able to do that, but it's a little different now. Anyways, people go to home open houses and whimsically decide they're gonna enter in a contract and they're not pre-approved. So it gives you leverage to have that pre-approval letter. Plus, it allows you to know how much the bank is willing to loan you. And again, I caution you to be realistic with the numbers. I remember when I bought my first condo, I was aghast at the number that they had that I quote unquote was approved for. Like, it was way more than made any logical sense to me. And I was like, who would loan me that kind of money? Like, seriously? So I ran through my budget and realized with all the other variables in place that I needed to put kind of a threshold on the purchase price of a condo, what felt comfortable for me. So I'd highly encourage you to get that pre-approval letter. The next one is near and dear to my heart because I have been a victim of this. Approach fixer-uppers with caution. So my first purchase, I had some water issues that were not disclosed to me, and I went down the rabbit hole of lawsuits and basically learned a lot of valuable life lessons. And so one thing I would tell you is the inspection is really, really important. The realtor you work with is really, really important. And making sure you listen to your intuition. During my first inspection, I had this weird feeling and I dismissed it. And in hindsight, that feeling actually was an indication that something wasn't right. But, I always like to believe that nothing's wasted. So it got me to where I live now, which I'm super grateful for. And I learned a lot through the legal system. And I learned a lot about picking and choosing battles. But anyways, neither here nor there. Limit your demands is the next tip. So oftentimes when you're negotiating with the seller, buyers will have demands of things they want. Like, I like to call it if you were Beyonce and you were gonna be singing at Coachella and you were like, this is my demand list. Like, you're not Beyonce, you're not singing at Coachella. So maybe kind of think about the most important things on your list and things that you could kind of live without. So just remember, the thing I always like to say in a real estate transaction is when the deal is fair, neither party is completely happy, because both are giving a little bit. Do your research is my last tip. Research the real estate agent that you're working with. Make sure that you find ways. I'm not sure exactly how that industry is regulated, but there may be places you can go to see if there's reviews. Maybe you reach out and ask family and friends who they've used. The first couple of real estate agents I've worked with left a little to be desired. And so it's important that you work with somebody who's knowledgeable, who has expertise, and somebody that you feel comfortable with, because this is probably the biggest purchase of your life. So be very careful and discerning. Be discerning with the institution that you ask for money from. So whether it's a mortgage broker that you work with, whether you just go into your bank and get a loan. One thing I will also share is during this time with the pandemic, a lot of institutions are kind of doing what I call teaser rates, with like if you bring money over to them, they'll give you a lower rate. Be mindful of cost. So I always like to find out what's the cost of the loan, and then amortize it out. Refinancing will be probably another topic I'll discuss shortly, because there are people that are on the refi train that should not be on the refi train, but we'll just say that for later. But anyhow, I would also say, don't forget to have fun. This is an exciting time, and it's like such a big deal and a big accomplishment. And also, what I realized for myself is when I moved from my condo to my house, I pretty much got rid of everything I had, like majority of it, and I wanted to start in this new space fresh, but I took my time to furnish it. And it was just me and my cat at the time. And it didn't really matter if I was in an empty house. I didn't have a couch for like 6 months because I couldn't afford the couch that I wanted, and so it motivated me to save. So I had some bougie lawn chairs. Let me tell you, the setup was legit. But I had fun. I danced around my house. I blasted music. So just remember that Rome wasn't built in a day, that you don't have to do it all in a day, and that sometimes I set little goals for myself of each area that I wanted to furnish next, and it made it fun. And I didn't get into more debt because I moved. So I hope you found this useful, and we'll see you next time. Bye.